Welcome to the series finale of Things I Should Have Already Done. This is part 4. If you missed parts 1 through 3, it's basically a list of plant chores that I have been avoiding and putting off for days, weeks, months, and even seasons. So if you'd like to catch up, I'll go ahead and link those videos down below, but you don't need to have watched those to watch this one, as each episode has its own list of chores. I have to admit that while I've been feeling so good marking all of these things off the list, I certainly have been putting this one off, and I was even trying to talk myself out of including this in the series, even though it's things that absolutely need to be done and I have been procrastinating on. But we're here, we're gonna do it, and I already got started a little bit earlier today. So I actually needed to go to, it's like a nursery garden center, but I can get big bags of anything really soil amendments, but I was out of pumice and orchid bark, and I also got charcoal, so I did that already. And let's just go over the list of things we are going to accomplish today. You may already guess this one because I alluded to it a little bit in part 3, but we are going to pot up together my 2 green Monstera Deliciosas into, they both need repots where they're at now, but I'm also going to combine them to make it look just one big beautiful bushy plant and display that in my living room. So that's a big one, and I hope that I have the right size pot for that. We're gonna take a look at both my Ficus Tinekes. I'm thinking one of them for sure needs a repot and the other one may just need to be readjusted in its pot. It's in a really tall one, so there may be some room for me to just kind of backfill with more soil, but so we're looking at both of those. And then finally we are going to take care of both of my Marantas. I think I only have the 2, the Silver Band and the Variegated Maranta. They're both due for an upsize, and then one in particular has never been happy in that type of pot, and I'll talk you through it a little bit more as we're working on it. But let's get started off the bat. Let's go make a fresh batch of my soil mix. So for these Monsteras and the Tinekes for that matter, and even the Marantas, I think I can use all the same soil. It won't be like my aeroid mix, it's just a bit simpler. So I'll meet you outside, we'll make a fresh batch of soil, and then we will just get started with the Monsteras. This bin usually houses store-bought cactus mix, but turns out I was almost out, so I DIY'd with the ingredients that I had. Not necessarily a cactus mix recipe, but I did want something that was a bit more moisture retentive and airy at the same time. So I did have a bag of aeroid mix I added in there with a lot of chunky stuff, and then I used cocoa peat as a base, followed by pumice, orchid bark. I ended up using like a different size orchid bark as well to make it a little bit more chunky, charcoal, and then a little bit of warm castings. And I can never tell you the measurements. I'm more of like measure with your heart type of girl, so very fluffy. It's gonna hold in moisture to where I don't have to water every few days, but still very aerated, and I think it turned out pretty good. This is the Monstera from my office. Don't judge, she's thirsty and needs proper support, but we're gonna take care of that today. And this is the one from my living room. So yeah, I'm really hoping that I do have an appropriate size pot for them. The one from my office is in like a 7-inch pot, and then the one in the living room is like a 9-inch pot. So I brought a 12, and then I think this is a 14, but it's more shallow. I'm not even gonna attempt to use a potting mat because I feel like both of these plants are just way too big to even try to not make a mess. So I'll just bring the broom and the vacuum afterward, but let's get them out of the pot and see what pot they'll fit in, and hopefully they fit in one of those. I'm sitting here thinking about my choices. No, I'm excited to do this. It's just they're big plants. So let's just do it. She's actually not so bad. Okay. I'm gonna take just some of this excess soil, not because I don't want it, but just because I want them both to fit in one of the pots. So if I can just break up the shape a little bit. Next. This one took work. This one's definitely ready for an upsize. Also, you probably can't even tell, but there's like pretty small stakes on both of them. I'm gonna remove those because I got a proper support for them. Same, I'm just gonna try to break this up a little, try to get rid of the shape so that I can fit them both in. I'm so out of breath now. My gosh, I'm getting dirt all over me. Okay. I think let's figure out where they're going to fit. Okay, so I think I can fit them in here, but I need to get rid of more of this soil. Oh. Which is coming off pretty easy. I just need to be able to better mold the root ball, you know? It's not that it has that many roots. And I talked about this a little bit in my Monstera collection video, but this plant was stunted, unfortunately, because the dogs just kept running into it, and I ended up chopping. I'm just removing these bamboo stakes. fit them both in this one. So this plant is super thirsty and dehydrated. Probably not the best time to be doing this. But this is what we got. It's so funny to think that at some point these like 12-inch stakes were supporting it so well. I'm gonna add some myco to the roots. I am sure you can't see very well, but I'll try to talk you through what I did once I get some of this under control. To take a short break and clean off all of this excess soil on the floor because I just couldn't function anymore. This Monstera now together is a beast. Okay, so today while I was getting my soil amendments, I also stopped by Home Depot and picked up this grid trellis. It's metal and it's by, I'll write the name, but it's super common and it was $12. So this is what I envisioned using for the plant, albeit I'm a little concerned that it's not enough. It's a monster. I think I'll just back you up some so that you can see a bigger picture of what I'm doing maybe, and hopefully that's a little bit of a better view because it's massive, like, yeah. Okay, that was intense. I had to make myself a coffee after that. Like, I'm not even sure how to properly explain everything I did in there. That Monstera is a beast now, but it's exactly what I envisioned. I think it's going to look so good in my living room. So I took it in the shower, I rinsed it off. I rinsed it twice so far. I'm gonna add my nutrient-rich cocktail, and then I will probably go in and adjust some of the leaves once it's hydrated again, because everything's super floppy right now. So I hope that I have that shot to show you as I'm editing this video so that you can see what that looks like. But I'm so happy that that is done. I think she looks so good. And I've opened up room in my office for more plants. I'm not gonna lie, I am feeling depleted of energy after that Monstera. I mean, even just staking it up onto that trellis or that grid, I think it took me over 15 minutes to do. All the vines are secure, so I'm really happy with that. But we're in my office, and I decided, regardless of what the Tineke looks like, the roots, I'm going to upsize it and then just backfill, so that should be much easier. And I'm using the same mix that I used for my Monstera, because I had completely switched out the mix on this when I first repotted it into this big pot, and it's something very similar. So we'll just plop and fill. For this one, I did bring my potting mat, because even though I do think that like all of that dirt from the Monsteras was not enough, or like the mat would have not been enough to catch all of that, I think it would have helped. So we are using a mat this time. We'll just do it right here on the floor. Yeah, so this girl definitely needs it. Look at this root, and she's also starting to circle inside the pot, which circling like right above the pot is kind of normal and not a reason on its own to repot, but that coupled with that long, with this one coming out of the bottom, I think that we should. So I brought 2 pots again. I think this is going to be pretty close to what it's in now though, so probably this one. All right, let's just bring it out and see. Yeah, these 2 are pretty much the same size. So this one it is. So I do think I'm going to need a different cover pot for her, because she's not going to fit what she's in anymore. but that's okay. I also forgot to add Myco, so I'll just sprinkle some on top of the soil. But I'm not terribly worried because I didn't mess with the root system at all. I'm gonna take her in the shower, give her a nice rinse, followed by my nutrient-rich cocktail, and she's set. I just checked my other Tineke that lives in my bedroom, and it actually does not need a repot or a readjustment in its pot. So that brings us to the last two plants on our list, and those are my Marantas. We're gonna do my variegated Maranta first because I think that this one's gonna be pretty easy. I have them in these self-watering pots so that don't have drainage, but so like this last inch or so and all the bottom isn't sealed, so the terracotta absorbs the water from the reservoir, and it's worked out wonderfully. So let's do this one first. I have the same style pot, only I believe that's a 4-inch and this is a 6-inch. When I tell you I am so tired after that Monstera, like, oh, this was so easy. Oh my gosh. Look at all these roots. Yeah, she's done really well for me in that type of setup. I am going to pick off some of the dry bits. She's a cutie. Look at this color. If I could get more like this, that would be everything. Or even this. So cute. I'm just gonna do a pop and, oops. I'm just gonna do a pop and fill on this. Should be pretty easy. And I'm using the same mix that I used for my Tineke and my Monstera. She's all set. So cute. I'll just fill the reservoir. And by the way, I don't usually fertilize these, like very, very rarely, once in a blue moon. I'll add fertilizer when it's dry, just into the pot, like very little. But usually the reservoir is just tap water. And yeah, no complaints. Now my silver band Maranta, I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about. It's, as you can see, just not looking nearly as nice as my variegated one. It often like doesn't pray, it doesn't move the leaves, they're always just kind of stuck down. There's a lot of browning. Overall, it just doesn't grow as fast. And I noticed this happen when I changed it into this self-watering pot. And the only thing that I am blaming is the fact that this self-watering pot is like cone-shaped. So I don't know if like the fact that the circumference of where it's or like soaking up water is so much smaller than the top may have something to do with it. Because, you know, that other Maranta is doing great. I have Caleithias in the same kind of pot and they're doing great. I have peace lilies and they're doing great, but they're all that other style. This is the only one that's cone shaped and the only plant that is just not loving it. So I don't have any more of those. So I figured I would just do a self-watering with a wick and see how it goes. But also, like, I'm curious to see what these roots look like, because maybe I just need to take cuttings and kind of start over. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Or maybe it was just severely root bound. Look at this. So many rhizomes. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, well that answers that. I'm gonna cut off some of these like brown bits, and yeah, we'll get her potted up into that nicer, bigger pot. Now I'm wondering if I should get an even bigger one. Yeah, I think I'm actually gonna get a bigger self-watering pot. This is hilarious that I was blaming this pot the whole time. Turns out the poor thing is just like severely root bound, desperate for a bigger home. Okay. Just gonna cut off some of these yellowing or dry edges just for aesthetics, because it doesn't matter. I mean, almost every single leaf. I cannot believe. This is crazy. This is crazy. And here I am thinking, the pot, there's something wrong with the cone-shaped pot. So I brought this. It's quite bigger than this. I know the camera doesn't look like it a ton, but it is. So hopefully this works. It works very, very similar on a wick. And just like that. It's okay. So the issue I'm having is this is like taller than the reservoirs. It's significantly taller than this one. This one's super shallow, but I may just have to pot it in a non-self-watering situation, which is dangerous for me because we know how I am. Okay, one more second. I'm back with two more options. So this would be just a regular pot situation, no self-watering. And then this is another option. So this is a reservoir and you fill it in like through this little sun. And I hate to be this picky, but it's off-white, so it doesn't really go with my decor. Like I have some of these outside and they were great, but I feel like it would obviously fit, but this doesn't go. So I'm thinking it's going to be non-self-watering for now, which is dangerous, but I can look for a self-watering pot and fix that later. So that's what we're gonna do, because frankly I am running out of steam. I've been running out of steam since the Monstera. You know what I didn't do again was add myco, but I didn't disturb the root ball, so I am hoping that she is a-okay. Oh my gosh, if she starts praying now after this, all she wanted was a bigger pot. I can't believe it. Okay, she's all set. This pot honestly like barely fits her, and I think it's a 7-inch. And I think that that other cone-shaped one was only like a 4.5-inch, and then obviously the bottom was a lot smaller. So I really hope she'll be much happier here. This officially concludes our series of things I should have already done. I really hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you got inspired to also do some of those plant chores you've been putting off. I'd love to hear if you did, or if you have some chores that you've been putting off too, so I know I'm not the only one. I really do enjoy plant chores so much more when I get to share them with you, so I really hope that you enjoy them too. If you watched this whole video or the whole series, please drop me an emoji or a comment. Let me know you watched it. Feel free to ask any questions. I love chatting with you. By the way, I added in the community tab a little question post for a Q&A video. So if you'd like me to answer anything specific about plants in general or me or what have you, add that there. And I just appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I will see you very soon. Bye.